Hello and welcome to Kirkistown in Northern Ireland, where the Irish Formula V Championship is about to head out onto the circuit for the first of what is set to be a couple of cracking slipstreaming battles here today. Towards the front of the grid we've got Tim Murray. The times they were very close in qualifying yesterday, so we're anticipating lots of wheel-to-wheel action. Well, cars then lining up on the grid, and it is indeed going to be Tim Murray on pole position with Philip Sheen alongside. Rob Fleming and Jack Byrne share the second row for this first race, with Jordan Kelly and David O'Loughlin on the third. Jamie Farrell and Justin Gray are on row 4 together, while Sean McCalliam and Nick Mulhall round out the 10 starters for our first of 2 Formula V races. So, getting ready to go racing then for 15 minutes plus 1 lap here at the high-speed Kirkistown circuit. On board here with Jordan Kelly from 5th on the grid. Does not get a good start at all, and they all come pouring past him on the run to the first corner. Disastrous start then from one of our potential podium finishers, who's got a lot of work to do now to try and get back to the front. It is the pole sitter Murray though that leads them down towards Colonial for the first time. But Philip Sheen trying to have a go around the outside there. Don't think he was able to quite get through. These VW powered cars, but various different chassis of Formula V on show here. Lots of them running the Shane chassis, but there is a bit of variety out there. A couple of Lee Stones as well, and LOHs too, which you don't see all that many of, particularly racing over in mainland UK. So see a bit of variety out there on the circuit. And this is only about half of the grid. The rest of the field, the more experienced drivers, will be out there in the A race a bit later on today. With our onboard driver, then down the back straight behind the pit lane, already starting to get back into the fray, and drivers chopping and changing left, right and centre. Number 40 there losing a place is the car of Sean McCalliam, who then comes diving back up the inside of everybody into the hairpin. Are we going to gain anything out of this? I think we will get past Nick Mulhall hopefully on the exit of the corner. The yellow machine is number 9. Now that is Robert Fleming. Robert Fleming started 3rd, so that yellow machine just there also had a bit of a disastrous start. Leaders though, 3 of them absolutely together as they race into the first corner at Debtors Dip. Lots of close battling though throughout the field as they start to separate into their various groups, but with a couple of poor starts being made there by front runners, I think we're going to see a bit of a jumbled order here in the early stages. Some drivers hopefully able to come through from the back of the field, but overtaking is at a bit of a premium here at Kirkistown. You've got those long straights where you can use the slipstream to overtake, but it's reasonably easy to defend at the end of those straights, so overtaking is a challenge, but we've seen some great racing here over the years from the Formula Vs. Hopefully we're in for another couple of very entertaining slipstreaming battles today. It looks like we are, because the leaders are battling away. We're back with our onboard camera. We're going to try this move again now around the outside of Sean McCalliam. This time around I think we've had a better run onto the back straight, so through we go, and then immediately move over to the right hand side to defend into the hairpin. Very bumpy braking zone there into that final corner, back out along the pit straight, and the next target looks like it's the 73 of Justin Gray. Next of the yellow cars there to possibly start to slip back down the order again. Off the start finish line they go, back with our leading 3, and a real jink to the left hand side there for Philip Shane as he tries to go around the outside of the race leader Tim Murray. Isn't able to do it though. Clearly had a better run out of Debtors Dip and just wasn't able to get fully alongside before they hit the brakes at Colonial. Then it's Jack Byrne in the green machine in 3rd, so that's your lead battle then. Murray from Sheen from Byrne, the top 3. As I said, Robert Fleming, the number 9 car, having dropped out of this battle in the early stages after a bit of a poor start, will be no doubt looking to try and regain that lost ground as the race goes on. Side by side for the race lead though. And Philip Sheen's had a good exit there from the John Crossley chicane. He's used the slipstream nicely. He has his nose in front, but is he going to be able to pull across and defend? The answer is no. They arrive at the hairpin absolutely together. And in fact, it might be Jack Byrne that benefits from this, because he gets the better exit out of the corner of the lot of them and pulls himself alongside. Down to the first corner they will go. Meanwhile, further back in the pack, things are equally as entertaining here as drivers try to negotiate the tricky midfield battles. So we've had the change for second then. Byrne now ahead of Sheen, who's on the grass going into Colonial, locks up and does a very good job of staying on the road. That could have been a disastrous moment there for Philip as he got to the top end of the circuit, but thankfully just about midfield battles then carving their way through into the first corner again. And guess what, they're nearly side by side at least. This is very much the pattern in Formula V racing. Lots of close slipstreaming battles and attempting a move at the inside. Oh, there's contact once, twice, three times. They're both off the road. That was the number 40 car of Sean McCallion trying to make a move. Number 57, Nick Mulhall, is the man that he tangles with. And McCallion may be out of the race, I fear. Thankfully, Mulhall has been able to rejoin, but McCallion may not be quite so lucky. There is the limping car of Sean McCallion going into the pit lane for retirement, as we suspected, with that front end damage. What's going on with the race leaders then? They'll be with us shortly. Here they are, still the 37 car in front, but he spins! Oh no! Tim Murray goes around from the race lead, and that we have to assume was as a result of this slippery surface at the hairpin, and he nearly loses it again in his eagerness to get going again. Tim Murray loses the race lead, and Philip Sheen is now handed a very comfortable advantage. Jack Byrne has moved through into second place, and Tim Murray down to third. He will be kicking himself for that, but if there is oil down at the hairpin, it was an understandable mistake to make, and I think there must be oil down at the hairpin because we've got another car locking up and going straight on. That's David O'Loughlin for the second time getting it wrong at the hairpin. Oh, actually runs wide and Jack Byrne gets him back again, or does he? They're side by side off the hairpin. Murray had better momentum there from the outside line, so it does hang on, but that was a bit of a mistake there for Tim Murray. Again, possibly getting caught out by that slippery surface, and David O'Loughlin, I don't think he's got fed up of spinning and called it a day. I think that there may be some damage or an issue with the car, and David O'Loughlin is now out of the race. He becomes our third retirement. Sean McCallion and Owen Kelly have pulled off the side of the road as well. Justin Gray rejoined from his spin at Colonial Court. We saw David O'Loughlin taking some interesting avoiding action for. There's where O'Loughlin's pulled off. O'Loughlin gets out of the car, and his race unfortunately is done, and he switches off our onboard camera. That was very nice of him. So David O'Loughlin saving the batteries there, and he's out of the race unfortunately, but at least he'll be able to watch from the sidelines now as the race enters its final stages. Here goes Tim Murray then back into second place, and into third now Jordan Kelly, because Jack Byrne has dropped behind. Now I thought I caught a glimpse a couple of corners ago of Jack Byrne going a bit slowly. I think that car's got a problem. He set the fastest lap back on lap 3 at 1 minute 7.885, but since then no one has been able to get anywhere near that pace because of this oil that's been down. So but he had pace, he had good speed early on in the race, but Jack Byrne now fading slightly with another potential mechanical gremlin creeping in. Meanwhile, the number 16 car, JB Farrell, locks up into the right-hander at Colonial, and I think that's the recovering Nick Mulhall behind him. So it looks as though Nick might be able to get back ahead of him. Nick, one of several drivers to have been involved in incidents. Of course, he was accosted by Sean McCallion a few laps earlier at the part of the circuit at which they've just driven through. He's now caught JB Farrell, and looking to try and make a move down the back straight if he can. To the final lap though goes our race leader Philip Sheen, and because of the issues that Tim Murray and Jack Byrne have had behind him, he's now got more than a 10-second cushion. Still pushing hard though, look, as he rounds Colonial. But half a lap to go now before he takes the checkered flag in our first Formula V race of the day. As I said, we'll have some of the more experienced and some of the quicker drivers out in race number 2, and they will be in close competition, I'm sure, given how close the qualifying times were, where just thousandths of a second separated the quickest drivers, 18 thousandths in particular between Dan Polly and Anthony Cross, so they'll share the front row for that race a bit later on. This time around, it is the turn of Philip Sheen, it would appear, to step onto the top step of the podium, because for the final time, he comes through the hairpin, avoids the slippery surface, sees the checkered flag, and he will take the victory then in race number 1 for the Irish Formula Vs. He goes across the line and wins our first race by a very, very handy margin indeed. Tim Murray will come home in second place, but by the flag over 11 seconds back, with Jordan Kelly third. Jack Byrne was fourth and Robert Fleming fifth, then Jamie Farrell, who managed to fend off Nick Mulhall for the last couple of laps. Justin Gray is in 8th position and will be the last of the finishers.
Well, Philip, well done. Great victory in our first Formula V race of the weekend. There's no such thing as an easy V race, but with the slippery surface and the close racing at the front, that was particularly entertaining.
Yeah, it was very. was racing with Jack Byrne and Tim Murray there a good way through, but then Tim got caught out in the oil. I think Jack is a bit down on power, but yeah, the oil kept it lively the whole time.
It's all about keeping momentum up in these cars as well, isn't it? They're not the most powerful, but this is a very, very high-speed circuit.
Yeah, that's exactly through the chicane, onto the long back straight, and out the last corner too. It's all about the drive out really, and the toes too.
Well, exactly, and important to try and pull away and break that toe.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Once you break that, if you can keep it up, you don't get caught out in the oil, you can kind of try to stay ahead.
A great race victory for you then. The car clearly working well this weekend?
Yeah, I just got new heads in it there last week, so get a bit more power out of it. And, yeah, new tyres too, so yeah, it's really
good stuff. Well done.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
The second Formula V race of the day is about to get underway here at Kirkistown. These VW engined single-seaters produced a fantastic first race earlier on today, and now with some new names at the front of the grid, we're set to see even more action and excitement, I'm sure. The race one winner was Philip Sheen, but he starts all the way down in 6th on the grid for this one, so he'll be hoping to try and carve through the order if at all possible. Well, this should be a fascinating race then. Anthony Cross and Dan Polly sharing the front row of the grid for this one. The two of them separated by just 18 thousandths of a second in qualifying. Gavin Buckley and Tim Murray share row 2, with Trevor Delaney and Philip Sheen, race 1 winner on row 3. Robert Fleming and Jack Byrne are next, ahead of Jordan Kelly and David O'Loughlin. JB Farrell and Justin Gray are next, while Sean McCallion and Nick Mulhall will hopefully not tangle with each other in this second race of the weekend. Rev starting to rise then. The number 1 car of Anthony Cross launches from pole position. It's an even start for both the front row men, but Gavin Buckley was away well as well from row number 2. Towards the back there, I noticed that David O'Loughlin had another slightly tardy getaway. They all race into Debtor's Dip for the first time then. And the wheel-to-wheel action begins, and it's actually 3 abreast there for the race lead, almost as they head into Colonial, but it will be Cross that hangs on. Polly still second, I think, and then Gavin Buckley and Tim Murray was that, debating 3rd position. And it looks as though it will still be Buckley just about ahead, Murray in 4th place, and then lots of entertaining stuff going on further back. Robert Fleming there, the yellow machine going up the inside. Philip Sheen runs out over the curbs, and he was briefly into 5th position ahead of Trevor Delaney, but I think that's Delaney going back through in the 66. Yes, it is. So it is, I think, despite all of that shuffling in the first few corners, going to be grid order as they head onto the back straight for the first time. Racing down towards the hairpin then, and immediately the slipstreaming starts to happen. Oh, contact there, and that's Delaney, I think, losing his front wing as they charged down the back straight. So, no, it wasn't Delaney, it was Buckley, I think. I mean, Buckley, our onboard camera driver then, that lost his front wing. He's got Tim Murray behind us, and so Gavin Buckley getting a bit too close to the back of Dan Polly's machine as they went down the back straight, and that will certainly not be helping his aerodynamics in a straight line. Streak past the start-finish line at the end of an entertaining opening lap, with Anthony Cross leading the way, Polly second, Buckley third, Murray in 4th. Then a gap back to Philip Sheen and Trevor Delaney, still debating 5th, and Sheen is back in front of Delaney now. And there, Robert Fleming dives up the inside of Jack Byrne, who, remember, faded towards the end of our first race, having looked good for a podium finish, ended up dropping down into 5th position by the flag. So he's got some incentive there to improve a little bit in this second race. Byrne then losing out to Fleming, but the two of them staying pretty close together as they go into the Crossley chicane once again. Onto the back straight. Cross, though, starting to make a bit of a break here at the front of the field as they race down towards the hairpin. That slipstream is so effective, and so Dan Polly doing everything he can to try and stay in the wheel track of the race leader, even if it is a few car lengths back. Then we're on board with Delaney, who's 3rd. Murray's still 4th, and in the background, that was Fleming, I think, going up the inside of Trevor Delaney, and Delaney gets him straight back because Fleming couldn't stop the car, and actually he might lose another spot now to Jack Byrne, who's back alongside him again. The green machine heading into turn number 1. Does it appear first? Yes, it does. So Jack Byrne back ahead of Fleming, who's had a rather an up and down day, starting towards the front in race number 1. A bad first lap put him way down the order, then he got caught out on the oil, and in fairness, he wasn't the only one, but the oil has now been cleared, of course, before this second race, and so the track conditions are far better, and we're already starting to see lap times that are a second or so quicker than we saw in race number 1. Damage there to the front of Byrne's car, maybe that nose cone looks like it's just flapping a little bit in the wind. You see the top 5 cars really getting away here slightly then. Cross, Polly, Buckley, Murray and Sheen, with Delaney now in 6th, 7th Fleming, 8th Byrne, And Jordan Kelly, I think that is the red machine, in 9th position. First side-by-side battle is Fleming versus Byrne. Byrne is fending him off for now, weaving from one side of the road to the other, then some 3-wide action behind as they come into the hairpin. Very, very close quarters racing once more from the Irish Formula V's. These 1.3 litre VW engined cars that are very, very popular over in Northern Ireland, as they are over in England as well. And you can see why, because it's a relatively affordable way of going racing, and it really is proper racing, very, very close indeed. It's a bit like a cheaper version of Formula Ford, really. Cars not quite as quick as Formula Fords, but they have many of the same sort of characteristics. Jack Byrne and Robert Fleming then continuing to circulate nose to tail. That is indeed Jordan Kelly behind them, I think, number 99 car, so this is a fairly tight battle, but they are losing time now to the leading pack. You can see them getting further away on Jack Byrne. Goes off at the chicane. Now, Jack Byrne, that looked almost as if it was something that broke on the car. I don't think he took too much curb. Entirely sure, but Jack Byrne bounces his way back on the road. Now, he doesn't seem to be slowing down, so if there is an issue, he feels he can manage it, but that almost looked like the car just wouldn't turn through the left-hander. So he, once again, unfortunately, enduring a slightly trying race. The leading quartet go through. They're dropping Philip Sheen now slightly in 5th. So Sheen, the race 1 winner, he was living with the pace of these very quick drivers at the front of the field in the early stages, but he is now starting to just fall away slightly. It's the 2 red cars really at the front of the field, Anthony Cross and Dan Polly, that appear to be pulling away. On board now with Gavin Buckley in 3rd. Looking back once again at Tim Murray, who is really harrying us there in 4th position. Buckley looking to try and get a better exit there in his Sheen FV chassis Formula V. And attack into the chicane on the exit though. There's a big wobble there for Gavin Buckley. This is Murray's chance. Carries visibly more speed off the corner. Buckley runs him off the road almost in trying to defend the position, but Tim Murray will go through. He'll have a tow. He goes to the outside on the way in, hoping to take advantage of these two maybe tripping over each other, which they may well do if they're not too careful. Oh, Delaney having none of that, eases Murray out wide, but yeah, look at the run that Buckley gets on the exit of the corner. Much quicker off the turn than the 2 cars in front, and he goes back ahead of Tim Murray again. So Gavin Buckley back into 4th position, Murray down to 5th. One place lower than where he started. It's Delaney that's made all of the moves in the middle portion of the race, but he's just really having to mirror drive now to keep them behind. Oh, and Buckley locking up there big time into Colonial. Murray's off as well. Tim Murray's off the road. So they were all braking as late as they dared. And I think a couple of them found the limit there. So Tim Murray's gone straight on all of his own volition, I think. And Gavin Buckley very nearly locked up and ran into the back of both of them. That all now frees up Trevor Delaney, who finally has a bit of breathing room. He's broken the toe, I think, and that could prove to be crucial. It's going to be tough to catch him now, I think. It is still Buckley in 4th. Murray, I think, rejoined in 5th position. Yeah, there he is in the background. Oh, but Buckley's pulling over. Gavin Buckley pulling off the road. So, well, it's all going on now again, all of a sudden in this race. It's been a cracking race up to this point, but now a couple of them starting to hit issues. And Gavin Buckley appears to be out of the race as we go on to the final lap of the race. The leaders as close as ever they were. I think it's Cross still ahead of Polly at the moment. Yes, it is, but Dan Polly, you can be sure we'll try and find a way through. Now, has he positioned himself right here for the final lap? Did he want to be leading? Is he happier being in 2nd place to get the run down the back straight? All of these are questions that will get answered in the next 30 seconds or so. He's forcing a defensive line here for Cross into Fisherman's, goes right round the outside line. Looks like he's keen to get through before they get to that back straight, which is interesting. He doesn't necessarily feel, therefore, that the slipstream will be enough to allow him through. Again, he forces Cross to move to the middle of the road into the chicane. That should mean that Polly is quicker off the corner, which he is marginally. He'll have to rely on this slipstream to close in though. Can he get close enough to have a go? One more corner remains in the race then. Anthony Cross has the lead. Dan Polly wants it and he's trying everything he can to take it off him. Pulls to the outside line into the hairpin as late as he dares under braking. They turn into the right-hander. Anthony Cross gets into the corner first. On the exit though, Polly has a better run. He's got the slipstream. It'll be a drag race to the start-finish line. It's going to be very, very close indeed, but I don't think that Polly will quite get there. Pulls out at the last minute, but the checkered flag goes to Anthony Cross by 78 1/1000ths of a second. A near dead heat finish between the two of them, and that really was a suitable result after what was a sensational battle between the pair over the entire duration of the race. Trevor Delaney is third, Tim Murray re-inherits fourth at the end, whilst Jordan Kelly had a quiet run to fifth. David O'Loughlin gets to the end this time in sixth ahead of JB Farrell, Robert Fleming and Jim Gray.
Great race
Then
victory,
Nick Hall,
typical
the
Formula
last
V race, that race,
finishes
wasn't it?
quite
It
a lot
was
of time
really
he
close,
came to get to the end. What a race it was, and a brilliant victory
got a
for
good
Anthony
start.
Cross.
The two of us were side by side down at the first corner, and then was probably ahead for the first few laps. And then I knew once Dan got into tow range, he was going to be giving me trouble, and trouble he gave me. So we swapped back and forth. I don't know how many times we swapped position, but yeah, it was a great race, enjoyable. Always looking out for the last lap board. I knew that was the important one to make sure we were had that covered. But we were in the right position as we crossed the line.
Did you want to be leading on to the last lap or second?
It didn't really. Yeah, the last lap. I was looking for the last lap board. Wouldn't have really bothered me coming up past the last lap board, whether I was first or second, but just making sure that it was within range to. The tow coming up the back straight was having a big effect there today. So actually on both straights it was because the wind is actually at the calming down a bit. Just looking at the windmill behind you, the wind is at the calming down a bit, so it was having an effect on both straights, but seemingly the back straight seemed to be making the biggest difference.
Well, it was fantastic to watch and a great victory.
Thanks very much. Thank you.